The church smelled of wet ash and candle wax gone cold. Margaret Holloway pulled her wool coat tighter. On October 17, 1952, St. Aldhelm's in the village of Trevone burned to its stone walls. 43 villagers stood in the drizzle and watched the spire fall. According to the parish register, she had played the organ every Sunday for 31 years. She never stopped. Margaret Holloway was 54 years old when the fire took everything but the exterior walls. The organ, a 1903 Willis Tracker instrument, stood at the center of the nave. It melted into a blackened skeleton of metal and wood. Parishioners assumed she would find work elsewhere. She did not. Instead, she returned to the ruins every morning at 6, walked past the scorch marks on the flagstones, and sat at what remained of the choir stalls. She played nothing. She just sat. The first strange report came from Thomas Coyle, a retired schoolteacher who lived across the green. In November 1952, he told the Cornish Guardian that he heard organ music drifting from the gutted building at midnight. Not a full piece, he said. Just a single sustained chord, like someone holding down the same key. The paper ran a short paragraph. No one followed up. By Christmas, 6 more villagers had come forward with similar accounts. The music, they agreed, always seemed to come from the same corner where the organ's pedalboard had been. Margaret was found there one February morning, her fingers pressed against the cold stone floor. She told the vicar she had been practicing. The organ was gone. There was no instrument, no keyboard, no pipes. When asked what she had been practicing on, she pointed to the floor and said, "The silence still holds the notes." Father Brennan wrote in his diary that she seemed perfectly well, merely resolved. He did not call a doctor. He perhaps should have. The Cornwall Constabulary closed the fire investigation in March 1953. The cause was listed as an electrical fault in the vestry wiring. No bodies were recovered, no one had been inside during the service. The parish council voted to leave the ruins standing. Insurance complications made demolition impractical. Margaret Holloway was offered a stipend to relocate. She declined. She had a small pension from her late husband, a fisherman lost at sea in 1947. She needed nothing from the church. She simply stayed. In 1958, a folklorist named Dr. Elaine Marsh visited Trevone on behalf of the Folklore Society. She interviewed 11 villagers and recorded 3 hours of testimony. Her field notes, now held in the archives of University College London, describe Margaret as lucid, articulate, and entirely convinced that the dead remain present in places where music once lived. One passage reads, "She insists the fire did not end the service. The congregation simply changed form. I asked her what they wanted. She said, the same thing they always wanted, to be heard." Dr. Marsh published a 12-page paper. It was largely ignored. The rational interpretation is not difficult to construct. Margaret Holloway was a widow at 51. She had served a small rural parish for 3 decades. The church was her identity, her social world, her daily structure. When it burned, she experienced a grief-induced dissociative state that manifested as the conviction that the music continued. This is not uncommon. Psychologists have documented similar patterns in survivors of fires who return compulsively to ruins. The auditory hallucinations the sustained chord heard by neighbors may have been whined through broken windows, or they may have been embellishments added over years of retelling. And yet 2 details trouble this clean explanation. First, the organ was not entirely destroyed. A team of restorers who examined the site in 1994 recovered 31 original pipe ranks from the rubble. The instrument had been partially disassembled and stored in the crypt during renovations that were scheduled for November 1952. From the crypt, the organ should have survived. It did not, which suggests the destruction was not accidental but deliberate. Second, Father Brennan's diary entries from October 1952 are missing. The pages covering the 3 weeks before the fire have been removed. Not lost. Removed, the binding shows clean cuts. What if the organ was destroyed to prevent something? What if Margaret's insistence that the music continued was not a symptom of grief, but a recollection of something she witnessed? The crypt beneath Street Aldhelms was sealed in 1953 and not reopened until 1994. When the restoration team cleared the debris, they found scratches on the inside of the crypt door. Fresh scratches. According to the team leader's report, the marks appeared to have been made by fingernails or a blunt instrument applied from the inside. The crypt had been locked and the key lost since the fire. The team pried the door open. There was nothing inside but old wood and pigeon droppings. The scratches were never explained. In 2019, an acoustic researcher named Dr. Kenji Mori spent 2 days at the ruins with a directional microphone and spectrum analyzer. He told the BBC that he recorded anomalous sustained resonance near the south wall, a single low-frequency tone at 41 Hz that appeared without any visible source. His paper, published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration, has been peer-reviewed and remains unreplicated. Dr. Mori declined to speculate on cause. He only noted that 41 Hz falls below the threshold of human hearing but can be perceived as a sensation of presence. Margaret Holloway died in 1978. The church still stands. The wind still moves through its broken windows. And somewhere, a chord is still being held.